What makes you want to take on Everest?
It's just something like anyone who's into mountaineering, just like, I feel like it's what they dream about too. Even if they don't ever do it, like it's something that you talk with others about and read about all the time. And the more I did, the more I was just like, I really want to do that, like in the back of my mind. But I never thought it'd really be possible because it's such a long trip. It's so expensive, all these doubts in my mind. But the more I climbed, the more I was like, come on, let's do this. Life is way too short.
Welcome to A Life Worth Working, where we explore the soul of work and the winding spaghetti pathways that shape our lives. I'm Michelle Weiss, a writer on the future of education and work.
And I'm Dana Allen Walsh, a pastor and executive coach who walks with people through the questions of meaning and vocation. Together, we look at how detours, failures, and pivots aren't wasted. They're the very signs of growth and transformation.
In this episode, we chat with Rebecca Long, a young climber who has successfully summited Mount Everest and also plays the viola professionally.
Rebecca did not start off her career doing these things. In fact, she hadn't even been exposed to climbing or mountaineering until her mid-20s. She had been much more focused on the surer, more stable road to success.
She was working at a bank and at asset management companies. She was in no way passionate about any of this work, but they paid the bills.
I kind of just assumed this is what adult life was like. Just, the grind and making money and enjoying yourself on the weekends.
After a while, depression started to creep in. At the time, Rebecca was only in her mid-20s, and she realized she was just too young to feel this way. She was determined to change her life, or she was just going to be miserable. The jobs would always be there, she realized. So she quit and went to South America.
That's when I broke up with my boyfriend too. So that was like my first permission to pursue my dreams and do something really crazy. So after that, I worked at, when I came back, I worked at JP Morgan for 3 years or so. And at that point, I'm like, well, I've done this before. I don't have a scarlet letter on for other employers. I got hired. So I might as well try it again. The jobs will always be there. The banks will be there, I'm sure.
So tell us every detail about Everest. I just want to know it all. I want to hear about that toxicity. I want to hear about the loss of your teammate. I want to, just walk us through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, starting from the loss of my teammate was really rough. So we were already a very small team. There was 5 clients in total, along with some Sherpas and guides. And all of them were men. But there was one older one. He was 69 years old, a doctor from Seattle, a really, really good guy. When I was such a, I don't know, a lost child in the beginning of the expedition, just because I was still relatively new to this high level of mountaineering. So there were some things that I'd forgotten. You need a nose shield on the mountain because the sun is just really aggressive. So anyway, that's something that he lent me, without even a second thought. Gloves, you name it. This was just a really sweet, fatherly figure. During our acclimatization climbs, that's when you climb up part way up the mountain and then come back down and kind of recalibrate and get your body used to the higher and higher elevations. So during one of those acclimatization climbs, he unfortunately had a heart attack and passed away up at Camp 2, right there with us. And that was that kind of brought a whole new gravity to climbing that I hadn't experienced firsthand before. Unfortunately, on the mountains, death, especially Everest, death is all around you. You see it in the poor bodies that you pass, and you hear about it. And it was just a whole new level of it, having it happen to a friend that I'd made right there. But it just reminds you these are the risks that you're taking by signing up for Everest or any other big mountain like that, where anything could happen. A rock could come down and hit you, dying of frostbite, the heart attack, hypoxia. yeah, there's a lot of dangers up there. So yeah, that was terribly tragic. And I guess dovetailing into the toxic, um, like fellow climbers, once Jonathan passed, I feel like it really changed the dynamic of the group in like a not healthy way. Because there was already only five of us. Someone like immediately left after that because they were rightfully disturbed and scared. But from there was just like me and two, I don't know, I'd call them chauvinists. They were like guys in their 30s and 40s. And unfortunately, mountains like Everest attract a lot of these people that they just feel like, I don't, they have a weird complex where they have to be like the best around them. And at that point, I wasn't as confident and sure of myself as I am now. So it was just something I was dealing with constantly, them like putting in like snide remarks or trying to make me feel bad about myself for asking questions, just trying to chisel away at me. So yeah, there got to a point where it wasn't enough. I mean, like crying in my tent didn't do anything after day. So I had to stand up to them and be like, what's your problem? Like, we're all in this together. If you're not gonna be nice to me, like, why say anything at all? And it, at least that helped, but I don't know. It was like a really painful and disappointing like experience having to deal with that. Something where it feels like it should be a team.
Yeah.
But I think it was incredibly valuable in the long run too, just to learn how to tune out that bullshit kind of.
Yeah.
And and focus on your own climb and tell people not to bother you.
Didn't really evolve over the journey.
The dynamic.
Yeah, like did it get any better or was it kind of the same all throughout?
Yeah, I mean, like once I actually stood up for myself and said something, and strangely enough, like the main perpetrator of all of this, like the day after I stood up to him, he got helicoptered out because he got like a severe respiratory infection. So I don't know, like the dark side of me is like, what happened? But
Sorry, but
well, yeah.
So then it was only two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then there was only 2 clients out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, it was almost like the Hunger Games, the way people were dropping like flies.
Does that like drive your anxiety where you're like something keeps happening here and are you wondering, am I the next one to get helicoptered out? Or
I mean, yeah, like the rational, very small part of my brain, as you can tell, was like screaming that, like, this isn't good, Rebecca. My mom was constantly like, honey, maybe you should come down. This doesn't look great. But I was so far into it at that point, and I just had this like deathly desire to get up there almost. So yeah.
So you were able to communicate with your parents while you were on. Wow.
Yeah. Everest Base Camp has like surprisingly decent Wi-Fi. It costs support, but that's obviously worth it when you're up there and don't have much to do. There's mountains like Pakistan, like K2 in Pakistan, where the Wi-Fi isn't existent. So you have to use your satellite phone to submit like really confusing short messages to people that arrive like 2 days later.
wow.
But on Everest, at least, yeah, there's great communication. And once you're above base camp, you can just use your satellite phone for those short cryptic messages.
Yeah. So how long does the whole process take, Rebecca, from like you flying over and arriving to you summiting?
Yeah, it's maybe between 6 to 8 weeks, door to door, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just flying into Kathmandu already takes over a day with a layover, usually in Doha or Qatar. And then in Kathmandu, you stay there a day or two to go over gear checks, just meet everyone, kind of explore Kathmandu a little bit. Beautiful city, really fun. And then from there, you'll take a helicopter or a small flight to Lukla, which is the most dangerous airport in the world, actually, because it's like super high up. There's like no flat ground there, obviously, since it's in the mountains. So you're landing on like something like that angle.
Wow.
So every time you're just like, please don't crash into the mountain. This is terrifying. Yeah, so from there, you just start your trek into base camp, and that takes maybe 5 to 10 days, depending on how slowly you want to take it, because it is a lot of like altitude gain. So you try to go a little bit slowly, but it's really cool along the way, like stopping in all these basically like ancient Himalayan villages where it just feels like nothing's changed in the last 400 years. They serve delicious momos, dal bhat. Like they have traditional Buddhist like statues and places of worship. It's really cool.
Wow. Wow. So do you have much interaction with the local people?
Yeah, I mean, we're staying in tea houses all the way along the way to Everest Base Camp. They're lovely, lovely people. And then when you're on the mountain, like the Sherpa people are from those villages usually.
Mm.
So every day we're interacting with them. They're just like lovely, wonderful, humble, super, super strong and talented on the mountains. Like some of them have climbed Everest like a dozen times. And it's crazy because if that happened in the US, like you'd be a national hero, but it's almost commonplace in that part of the world. But yeah, they're absolutely unsung heroes. Like none of these climbs would be possible without their help and their guidance.
Yeah. So they're the ones that know the way up and know the dangers and are kind of pointing those things out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You mentioned, I think you said you started out with 5 Sherpas, or something like that. Like as people were dropping like flies, did the same number of Sherpas stay or did some of them go back down?
That's a good question. I think a few of them went down, but some would support like the main group or go up anyway and like bring supplies, or some even like want to go up too, which sounds pretty crazy thinking of all the dangers. But I'd say maybe like half or like headed down and half kept going up, kind of that split.
How is it for you as a climber mentally, that idea that you climb and then you go back down?
I know.
I know. Yeah, it's pretty counterintuitive because every step is like so strenuous up there. Like you're breathing like 3 times and then one step and one step. So you can see how suddenly, all right, we're going back down there just to go back up in a few days, like seems ridiculous. But of course it's like completely necessary for the like acclimatization process. Like going up higher is better and then sleeping lower is what you're supposed to do in order to like recover and build those red blood cells and do all those scientific things I'm not completely sure about. But so that can feel really hard, but in a way it kind of mirrors like real life where progress isn't always forward. You're not always going straight up. Like it's more like this. I don't know. Seen that motivational poster somewhere. But yeah, so it's something I've made peace with, but still always sucks.
Yeah.
So you're constantly doing that along up until the peak. You're going up and then coming back down to sleep lower.
Yeah, I mean, well, during the actual summit push, it's more of a straight shot, but like the as in the acclimatization push, you're doing all that. You're like reaching a little bit further, then going back a little lower to sleep. But yeah, the summit push, you're just going as far as you can as quickly as possible.
So tell us about that summit push and what that looks like.
Yeah, so that starts from base camp, just like a accelerated version of one of the acclimatization cycles. So yeah, you're starting at base camp, like clobbering out of rocky base camp with your massive boots that are like huge. Oh yeah, before you go, you always throw rice at there's like this puja setup, which is like it's part of a Buddhist ceremony that the Sherpas kind of perform for everyone before every summit push. So before we leave base camp, like at 2 a.m. or so, we're throwing rice there, mid passage, and yeah. And then from there, we're going through the Khumbu Icefall, which is probably one of the most dangerous and scary parts of Everest. It's not super high yet. It's only like 19,000 feet or so. But it's just filled with these like super ominous looking seracs, which are these giant like ice sculptures that are overhanging that you have to duck under, that are known to just like crumble for nothing and bury you under thousands of tons of ice and snow. Um, yeah, you can fall into a crevasse, which is like, God, those can get like hundreds of meters deep into the earth. So they're these like scary ladders that are like four of them roped together that you're just almost like a drawbridge. It's just like swinging to the side, and it's freezing, it's dark. You're like, you're getting really like, please God, like, I don't know. I'm not like much of a praying type, I'm sorry. But like those are the moments when I'm like channeling whatever good grace I have. And I'm hoping for some leniency and safe passage, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, so from there, like going through the ice fall maybe takes 6 hours. So that's a very, and you're not like really allowed to rest much because it's so dangerous to stop. Just because of like these seracs and ice will crumble at any time. So if you try to stop for a sec, your Sherpa's just like, nope, keep going. Doesn't matter, you need a breath. But it's for the best. So once you're through there, it's kind of a flat area up into Camp 1, where some people stay and then some people go straight to Camp 2, which is maybe not as technically challenging, but if it's a warm day out, if the sun's out remotely, like it can be the hottest experiences of your life. You wouldn't guess that on Everest,
Right.
but the sun just like they call it the CWM, the CWM. It's just like a bunch of mountains that are like forming this passageway, and the sun, once the sun comes up, it just like gets caught in there and it reflects over all the ice and snow and just absolutely burns you because you're wearing these mountaineering clothes. You're wearing this helmet that's absorbing all the heat, and it's like one of the most miserable experiences because all you can do is like walk slowly for a couple hours to Camp 2. But I mean, if the sun isn't out, it's a breeze. Like it's no biggie. But yeah, you
What
really
was
have
it
to.
for you?
Yep, sorry.
What was it for you when you were going or when you were summiting?
So when I summited Everest 2 years ago, it was extremely sunny, and it was one of the hardest experiences of my life up till then. Like I was like crying to my Sherpa, and usually I like to consider myself a tough person that can muscle through things, but when it comes to heat, I guess I'm a big baby. I've learned. So yeah, but then when I did Lhotse this year, which is it's the same as Everest until summit day. So I went the same path, and luckily it was cloudy this year, and I was like, wow, this is so much easier. Like I was almost skipping through. So it's just crazy how much of a difference the sun can make.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's up to Camp 2. Start the real climbing after Camp 2. Like some people put on oxygen there. So from there, you're
Did
walking
you?
a little, and then well, yeah, my team did from Camp 2, which was nice, so that you could really blast up there. But so from there, like it starts to get really steep. Like you're going on these like steep icy faces called the Lhotse face, actually. Yeah, so this is where your ice axe is really
I
coming
was
in
wondering,
handy
and
now.
like, do you have like ice picks in your boots or like crampons kind of thing?
Yeah. The crampons are basically like boots with knives on them, which is
Wow.
like great for the snow, but bad if it's crowded. Like if there's lots of other people around you. There's been times when I'm like, oh my God, get those away from my face. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
end up like scarred. But yeah, so you have lots of tools to help you get up there. You're hanging on the rope using like an ascender, which is a tool that you have on your harness that can attach to the rope. And it's kind of like a progress keeper, like a bookkeeper on the mountain, so that, I don't know, if you start to fall back, you don't go all the way back down to Kathmandu. You actually have something to grab onto and
Wow.
like work your way up slowly. So yeah, from there, then Camp 3, you're basically in an eagle's nest. Like there's like meticulously carved out like flat areas, but like the tent is on like maybe a 3 foot, I don't know, like hang. So you feel like you're rolling off the mountain when you're in the tent. So yeah, that's when it's really serious. And then one more, you go over the yellow band, which is like a really technical, rocky area, kind of rock climbing through. And that's when it's extremely crowded there. So you're just hoping that like people have common sense and courtesy to let you go past if you need to. And there's usually a body or two there too. I know I say that really like numbly, but it's like the unfortunate, yeah, it's a really hard place to clear bodies and stuff. So that's like another mental thing you have to prepare for. Yeah. So then you get to Camp 4, which is like it's like where you're setting up for the actual summit push. Usually just spend a couple hours there, like have a meal if you can, get some water down, just try to keep it normally, don't freak out. And then from there, you're leaving in the middle of the night and just going up like super, super steep terrain. That's when the real crowds are because like everyone is trying to get up to the summit at the same time. I'm sure you've seen pictures of like literally hundreds of brightly colored people like just in the same line for hours. So that's usually what it's like, unless you can pass people, which is difficult up there. And then, yeah, up near the top, there's like a couple hours where it's really like technically challenging, the Hillary Step, the South Summit, but absolutely beautiful because usually the sun is rising at this time and you're literally realizing like, holy crap, like I'm on top of the world. Like you can see all the mountains around you and like you start to choke up a little. And yeah, I always lose it near the summit. Yeah. And then, yeah, just finally standing on the summit, you're like, wow, like you're so exhausted, but just nothing can describe how like amazingly proud and humbled and in awe that you feel about just everything. Yeah. And then the long climb back down, which is, I think is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Most people are already like, tuckered out by the time they get to the top. Like, oh, I'm done. No, you're not. Like you have to get down. Like getting to the top is optional, but coming down is mandatory.
Right.
At boosters. Yeah. So yeah, I always struggle coming down a bit just because I feel like I'm really buoyed by adrenaline. But yeah, once you're coming down, it's like, oh, it kills your knees.
Yeah.
You're just so exhausted. So I've gotten into the habit of like taking a caffeine pill or a couple of them on the way back down and just really muscling through it.
Yeah. And are you having to kind of take it slow or like or can you come right down? Like how does like as far as the
Like
oxygen level and all that?
acclimatization?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question, but it's not at all like going up the mountain. Like you
Right.
can immediately go back down, like if you can make it.
Wow.
Because it's just suddenly like oxygen is just flowing into you. It feels like mother's milk almost. It's coming back down. So yeah, it's not a problem to get back down as quickly as possible. And that's usually what happens. Like if any emergency happens up there, if someone is having trouble breathing, getting hypoxic, like they want to get them down as soon as possible. And that's when they usually, they're like back to normal again. Because just being up at that level of oxygen for like so long, it just like gradually like chips away at you. Yeah. And sometimes you don't even notice because it's just so gradual. But yeah, you start to become more irritable, not as smart. And I'm terrible with names, like names that I remembered weeks before. I'm suddenly like, oh, what's his name? Like it's just so. I'm like going through all the names he could possibly be in my. That's something I really struggled with, clearly. But yeah, you just become like a worse version of yourself up there overall. So yeah, once you're down again, you're like, oh, like this is how life is supposed to be. And when you see grass for the first time again after 2 months, it's like, wow, there's life. There's joy.
I bet. How long does it take you to get down?
let's see. It took me 2 days in total. Like on summit day, when I did Everest, we went back down to Camp 2, which was really difficult then, and then back down to base camp and the next day, and then walking out or flying if you can.
Wow.
So yeah, not nearly as long as coming up.
Yeah.
Some people can make it from the summit straight to base camp too.
Wow.
Gosh.
So, okay. I mean, almost everything that you described sounds miserable.
Michelle's like, no thanks.
Except for the summiting and the,
And the sunrise.
glory and all that stuff. Yes, that sounds pretty amazing. But then you have to come down, and it seems like it's dangerous, just as dangerous coming down. I wonder though, like having done this amazing thing, and obviously it's probably, I would imagine, one of the biggest challenges of your life. Is that fair to say?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've peaked in a certain way where you can't match what you've done at such a young age? Like, it's so incredible what you've done. Do you feel like you're chasing that now?
Yeah, in a way, but like there's still many more tall mountains that are much more challenging than what I've done so far. Like I'd love to try shorter but more technical mountains, maybe try it solo or try it with less help, maybe even without oxygen someday. So, I mean, I don't think I've peaked in all the ways, maybe just in terms of sheer height, but I don't know. And if anything, it's only motivating me to strive more in my life. Like maybe I'm capable of more than I ever, imagined. So I don't know. It's kind of made the mountains even taller, maybe in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does that reach into any other areas of your life, Rebecca, beyond climbing, that sense of like, maybe I'm capable of more than I imagined?
Yeah. I mean, I think in my professional life, in a way, because I haven't rushed back to get into like the finance and banking sector where I wasn't completely happy. I don't know. It's told me that I'm maybe capable and deserving of finding something that I truly am passionate about, whether it's super profitable or not, and whether I know what it is right now or not. I think it's just given me permission and given me the confidence to, try and even fail if I need to, but just to strive for something better for myself, because life really is too short, as cliche as it sounds, to be miserable and to be just getting by,
So when you were doing the safe and boring jobs in finance, were you using that as a vehicle to like save and fund this activity, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how it turned out being. Like at the time, I thought it was going to happen forever. But yeah, I made, enough of strides financially that I could afford to pay for these trips. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, just, this idea that you're stretching beyond what you thought were your limits. Has that redefined for you how you think of success in your life?
I think so, yeah, because it's no longer just sheer accomplishments or doing time. Like, oh, I've been at this company for years. Like, that's no longer a priority for me. It's more just like, well, how happy is this making me? Or how much have I learned from this? How much have I improved? Like things like that are becoming a little bit more important to me than my other priorities before.
Yeah. And Rebecca, I'm curious about how you define happiness or fulfillment, right? Because I'm thinking as I'm hearing your story, I wouldn't say that you're associating happiness with ease, right? So what does that look like for you as you think about building a life that feels fulfilling and happy?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think it's the opposite of ease in my mind, at least. It's finding something that maybe I'm not even really good at in the beginning and getting better at it, and then maybe getting good and, yeah, challenging myself as much as possible. Like, I just boxing class a few weeks ago, and I can tell you I'm not meant for boxing. Like there's just like it's taking a really long time to pick things up, even like tying the gloves on my hands. But like it's so fun. Like I love being at the bottom rung and like just getting a little bit better each time and challenging myself in that way. So it's the same thing as mountaineering and anything else that like I'm interested in. Like I just want to challenge myself and get better, learn more. Yeah, just fail when I do everything.
Yeah, you are so good at embracing that beginner's mindset, that
Yeah.
Buddhist notion of like, that here that we have so much potential and so much to gain when we, see ourselves as a beginner.
Mm-hmm. And unlike those toxic teammates of yours, I don't think you're doing it from a competitive spirit, right? You're doing it out of curiosity and enjoyment, and you're seeking out just to learn more and more. It sounds like it's almost like you're it's just this internal fight inside
Yeah.
yourself.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope I have the right reasons, because like a lot of people on Everest just seem to do it so they can put a certificate on their desk,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, tell their friends. But I don't know, it just the challenge of it and knowing that you were able to do it, the experiences you had along the way, like being in the Himalayas. I think those are all more important than like the certificate for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you talked about your trek, to me, it actually seemed like such an internal process and almost even a little lonely. Like this wasn't about a team experience like you had in some prior climbing, where you've really got this camaraderie and you're supporting each other. You were having to really do a lot of hard internal work as you grieved a teammate and then as you had to stand up to yourself against some toxic people. So that's hard work physically, but also within you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly some parts of it was like some kind of like retreat where you're just getting thrown into the deep end. The most despair and challenges that you've like handled in years, like all at once, and loneliness, like being away from your comforts. So yeah, during the time it was really difficult, but yeah, coming out, I think I became a better person in so many ways.
Yeah, and you've kept climbing. So you've climbed K2 in Pakistan, and
Yep.
and you said another big, was it a return to Everest or?
Yeah, so I did Lhotse, which is like right on there. It's the fourth tallest mountain. So it's right next to Everest, basically. But I did that, and then I went to the border of India and Nepal for the third tallest mountain, Kanchenjunga. But unfortunately, on summit day, we had to turn around because it was really late in the season, and there was like extreme avalanche danger. Like I'm talking 50% chance everyone gets swept away.
Wow.
So yeah, that was like another learning experience for me. My first like big failure, if you can call it that. Because I don't know, after weeks like working your way up there, it's so hard to have to turn around and accept like, nope, this isn't happening this time. All the effort and time that you're putting in here, like you're just gonna have to come back next year. Like if you go up one more step, like the mountain might take you. So it's easy at that point to be like, well, yeah, obviously my life is more important. I think a lot of mountaineers struggle with this mindset, this summit fever almost, and they might push forward past that and anger the mountain and lose their life. But, I've gotten to a point where, yeah, if the danger is sizable, like I have a lot of good things going on in my life and I need to return to my family and my friends.
Yeah.
Tell us about this return to viola and being it's viola, right? Not violin.
Yeah, you got it.
And doing it professionally. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I played violin and viola my childhood. I actually applied for conservatories and music schools my senior year of high school. And then I accepted like a full ride scholarship at VU in their music program. So it really looked like, I was going on that path professionally. I had a tough first year, to be honest, like a lot of growing up, like going through typical freshman struggles. And then also like career wise being like, well, classical viola, is that going to like get me a long-term security? And I don't know, like, yeah, security. And the beginning of my sophomore year, I actually like decided to switch majors to economics because I'd already taken a few classes in there that previous year. And it just came easily to me, and it just made more sense, like, to have a degree in economics versus, like, I was seeing so many talented musicians graduating, moving back in with their parents, like, just not able to secure, like, a solid options. So, so once I switched to economics, I was working in banking and finance for so many years. And then fast forward to climbing Everest, coming back, not rushing back into the finance banking sphere. I was like, well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's bring this out. Let's dust it off. So I accepted a few gigs, weddings, funerals, events. There's actually a surprising amount of work available, like, for a competent musician.
Yes.
So I put myself out there, and yeah, like, all summer I've been playing at weddings. And I love doing that too, because it's completely different than anything else I've done. Like, it's not like working at a bank or climbing a mountain. It's just like giving back to people somehow, like collaborating with other musicians and recreating just completely beautiful music and making someone's special day like that much more special. Like, it's almost as rewarding as climbing a mountain in that way. So that's been really fun.
Yeah. I love that you're exploring different parts of yourself and creating space for that.
Yeah. So many of our interviewees discuss the role of release, the moment they break free from external expectations, internal constraints, or unexamined paths. Release is not always a dramatic rupture. Often, it's a quiet but decisive shift in posture, a willingness to relinquish what no longer serves in order to embrace possibility, agency, and authenticity.
For Rebecca, she released herself from the idea of stability and certainty and a path she could no longer bear. And by turning away and turning toward the sense of adventure in her, she was ultimately able to carve out a path that pays the bills through an instrument she loves, and then gets her adrenaline kick in the many more mountains she will continue to climb.
She's Dana Ellen Walsh.
And she's Michelle Weiss.
This has been another episode of A Life Worth Working. Remember, release is not resignation. It's the door to agency, renewal, and a truer sense of calling.
Subscribe and share with those you love. And join us as we keep exploring what makes a life worth working.